One. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the July 8, 2020. It's hard to say 2020, it's still. I'm Bill Maley, Brighton Town Supervisor, and I appreciate all of you joining us on this hot July evening for a meeting of the town board that, again, we are running on Zoom, and the meeting is being live streamed and broadcast to the entire community. The meeting is being live streamed on our webpage, on our YouTube channel, the link, and broadcast on Spectrum Cable Channel 1303. All of that is in compliance with Governor Cuomo's executive order that modified provisions of the Open Meetings Law to allow for remote meetings like this of local governments during the pandemic. But one of the things that we are really working hard to do is to continue our tradition of being as open as we possibly can be during all of our meetings. We will be starting in a moment with our open forum. You'll have the opportunity to call in during the open forum. Someone will take your question or comment and pass that along to me. We also make our meetings fully accessible to our deaf and hard of hearing community with our ASL sign language interpreters. And tonight, those interpreters are Paige Geisler and Heather Barzinski. Thank you, Paige. Thank you, Heather, for being with us tonight. Tonight's agenda and all of the supporting material that we have in front of us that we're working from is available to anybody watching on the town webpage at www.townofbrighton.org. As we, again, always do, we will start the meeting with the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, and again, as I have been doing at each one of our board meetings, I do want to give a little update on various matters relating to the COVID pandemic and how we are doing here. Both the New York State and town of Brighton states of emergency remain in effect. Excuse me. At this point, there probably is nothing that's of greater interest than a lot of people as you're following things than the potential reopening of schools next fall. Now, many of you, like me, have been listening to Governor Cuomo's press conferences throughout the pandemic. And while they are no longer a daily event, he's doing it on a regular basis. Today, he spoke at some length about opening schools. And he announced the following timeline for decision-making on that. On June 13th, next Monday, the state plans to issue final guidance on reopening K through 12 school districts for school districts and other independent, religious, private schools to develop their reopening plans. Those school districts and schools will be required to submit their reopening plans to the state education department, not later than July 31st. And then decisions will be made by the state as to whether approve those plans during the week of August 1st through 7th. The governor also indicated that some of the guidance and some of the approval policies could vary from region to region, as so much has, because while we're in phase 4, some are still in phase 3, and things could change in the next month. But that's the intent, to recognize as much as possible actual conditions in every region once those decisions are being made. And much more about that issue going forward. Last Friday, Senator Kirsten Gillibrand was here in Rochester, and I had the opportunity to speak at a press conference that she and Representative Joe Morelli held at the federal building downtown. She was here to discuss the work that she and Representative Morelli are doing to bring direct federal aid to local municipalities and school districts here in New York, but really across the country. Last month, the House of Representatives passed the HEROES Act, which is a new round of federal aid, federal pandemic aid, that for the first time would include direct aid to small and medium-sized municipalities like Brighton and to school districts. Now, I know many of you have heard me talk about the fact that we currently expect sales taxes for the year 2020, and sales taxes are the second largest source of revenue for the town after property taxes. We expect that those sales taxes may fall by as much as $1 million as compared to last year due to the pandemic. Other significant revenue sources for the town, such as interest income, revenue from facilities like lodge rentals, room rentals here in Town Hall, various programs like our recreation programs, will also be dramatically reduced due to the pandemic. Now, next year, we don't know yet how much property tax assessments will impact our revenues. This year, property taxes are computed as of March 1st, so before the pandemic really took effect. The Brighton Central School District and the other 4 school districts that serve the town of Brighton are also facing just as serious an issue of funding, revenue levels. My message that day, and I'll repeat it again, is that from the beginning of the pandemic, we've been celebrating our essential workers, healthcare workers and the like, supermarket workers. But now it's up to the federal government to show that they support local essential workers, like teachers, like public safety workers, highway workers, and all the other municipal and educational workers who provide services that I know are essential to our residents. Now, I'm appreciative that Senator Schumer and Senator Gillibrand, as well as Representative Morelli, all support this federal direct aid. But as we begin to develop our town budget for the year 2021, I can tell you beyond a shadow of a doubt that without federal direct aid, the town of Brighton will have to make some very difficult decisions about which services that our residents have come to rely on will be able to continue. Up to this time, most municipalities, other than the very largest, have not received any federal pandemic aid. And again, I want to thank our Senators Gillibrand and Schumer, Representative Morelli, for carrying this fight to the floors of Congress. Town Hall is open still, but only by appointment. We ask if you have a matter that you want to speak with someone about, a permit or that sort of thing, call or email that department and they will work with you to see if your needs can still be handled remotely. Most of what we are doing, even though Town Hall is open, is still being handled remotely. All entry to the building is through either the front or back entrance to the public safety wing, where the courts and police are located. When you come in, we will conduct temperature checks. We'll ask you questions about any recent travel, your symptoms, whether you've come into contact with anyone with COVID to the best of your knowledge. All persons entering the building are required to wear face coverings in order to protect our employees and other visitors to the building. The library, on the other side, continues to operate curbside, and you will hear in just a moment how very successful that curbside operation has been. I do expect that later this month, the library will be reopening with some changes as we phase back in. But again, that will take place later this month. So now we are ready to begin our open forum. If there is anybody that has any questions or comments for the town board, you can call the number 303-3060. That's 303-3060. If you have any questions or comments during the open forum, whether or not you're calling about any matter that's on our agenda this evening. I know we don't have anybody as yet. So why don't we continue on? If we do get any calls, we'll return to the open forum. But
Bill, I move that we approve the agenda before us.
Thank you, Chris. Can I have a second?
Second, Christine.
Any discussion? Hearing none. Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Supervisor Malley?
Aye. Next, we do have a number of communications. Can I have a motion to receive and file those communications?
So moved.
Jason,
Second.
thank you.
Second,
Thank you.
Robin Will.
Thanks, Robin. Let me just review them quickly. The first one is from Timothy Mayer, Director of Real Property Tax Services with the State Department of Taxation and Finance. This is the final formal notification that we get from the state relating to our assessed valuation, and this one relates to special franchises. In other words, basically utilities, groups like Frontier and the like, because their assets are treated a little bit differently under the real property tax law, but this gives notice of their assessed valuation. We also have a communication from Robert Cagle, the town attorney in the town of Pittsford, relating to a public hearing on a revised development proposal for the Kilbourne Place apartments in Pittsford at 3500 through 3596 East Avenue. I had mentioned that we'd hear more about the library. We have correspondence from Jennifer Reese-Taggart, our executive director of the library, with some updates on the number of curbside pickup users in the month of June. And it really is extraordinary. Over 50 a day. It's just great to see so many people using the library, even though they can't use it in their traditional form. So job well done, Jennifer, and your whole library team. And I know everybody that is a friend, whether that's a capital F, Friends of Brighton Memorial Library, or just a friend of libraries in general, is looking forward to the day that we can open the doors and gradually let people back into the library. Next is communication from Ramsey Boehner, our environmental review liaison officer. It's a letter dated July 2nd to the State Canal Corporation. In June, we received a proposed scoping document for the State Canal Corporation's ongoing, what they call the Earthen Embankment Integrity Program. but let's call it what it is. It's the clear cut of the Erie Canal. It's a new environmental review of what is probably going to look very much like the same old project that the state failed to give an adequate environmental review to, and the towns of Brighton, Pittsford, and Barrington successfully sued the Canal Corporation because of their failure on the environmental review. So this year they recognize that it is a type 1 project under SEQR, the State Environmental Quality Review Act. And to start that process, they prepared a proposed scoping document. The town of Brighton, along with the town of Pittsford, and I believe the town of Barrington, all submitted comments to the Canal Corporation relating to the environmental scope of review. And I appreciate the work that Ramsey in particular, and I think Everett put in on that project. We are going to continue to monitor this project very, very closely. It is not just a Brighton, Pittsford, Barrington project, as those of you that were following. It was back in, I guess it was 2018, they started doing this work on the west side of the county, west of here, through Orleans County, Niagara County, and nobody did anything to stop them until they got here. Nobody did anything to recognize that clear cutting all of this land, not just in our 3 towns, but across this whole path of the canal across New York State, was a significant action, as that term is used under SEQR, and should be given a full environmental review. Now it will be, and I appreciate the members of the Stop the Clear Cut group, the Facebook group, but they're much more than a Facebook group. They are also individuals who submitted their own comments to the scope. They brought this issue to the attention of elected officials. They are still on the job, and we're still on the job. And we're going to work very closely to try to make sure that real alternatives to a clear cut are considered by the state. Next, another very exciting communication is from Sue Hughes-Smith at Rocktricity, preparing for a big day tomorrow. We will be receiving bids from wholesale power suppliers tomorrow, power suppliers of renewable power, with the hope that we will get bids that meet our specification and can power the Community Choice Aggregation Program, Monroe Community Power, that has been begun by the towns of Brighton, Arundecoit, and Pittsford, as well as the village of Pittsford. Now, when I talk about whether they meet the specifications, what I'm really talking about, yes, the fact that they are specifically 100% renewable, and that's a defined concept term as well, but that the pricing that they're offering us is less than the average of the last 12 months pricing on renewable electricity. So we will know tomorrow. We have a couple of teleconferences scheduled during the day tomorrow that Councilmember Wilt and I will be a part of. If they do not meet that pricing, I'm going to encourage that we very quickly tweak slightly. This is a proposed 24-month power sourcing. And we had some discussions about whether the benchmark would be 12 months or 24 months. All the material that was presented to the community said 12 months. And we thought that was important to maintain that. But if we don't get a price that meets that, I'm going to encourage us all to get right back up on the horse, as they say, go out with a 24-month benchmark, that may be easier to meet. But in any event, to work as hard as we can to establish community choice aggregation in our communities. But the big day is tomorrow on bid opening, and we'll be letting people know very quickly how that went and what comes next. Also have a couple of communications, one from David Orange on Buckland Avenue, raised some concerns about speeding in the Meadowbrook neighborhood, and my response, and then his thank you for my response, and is recognizing the visibility of the police doing traffic monitoring in his neighborhood. And then also communication from Mr. Fred Dugan, also relating to the police department. So those are our communications tonight. We have a motion and a second to receive and file those. Any further discussion?
Bill, I do think we need to take note of that letter from Robert Cagle of the town of Pittsburgh. Was being proposed. There's 110 luxury units there on East Avenue, along where the back nine is currently, a restaurant there. And I'm always struck by 110 luxury units. There's no provision at all being made for affordable units, as would be our requirement. The town of Pittsburgh apparently has no such requirement, unless, of course, that's going to be part of their review.
And I will say that the town of Pittsburgh is actually spending a lot of time as a community looking at affordable housing alternatives. But as I understand it, yes, this is on some of that land there near the former back nine, where there was some development, and not much has happened in the last couple of years.
Seems to have stalled there, but
yeah.
It's a significant development being proposed there. And
it is.
Was that taken into account at all when we evaluated the the restriping of East Avenue, which did not widen it? It took us down to 3 lanes from 4 previous, which I think is working quite well right now. And that's, of course, right out front of Robin's house. But
Chris, I don't know the answer to that. Robin might, but I suspect that at the very least they took into account traffic that would have been expected from the then existing project that was, yes, had somewhat stalled out, but was still on the drawing boards. Robin, I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
The traffic counts are not very high for that thoroughfare. And so they were well below the maximum for a thoroughfare for which you would consider the road diet. So I can't imagine that even that development would have increased it to the threshold for a different consideration of the project.
The goal of the project, of course, is to, make East Avenue, give it in some ways a feel that's consistent with the residential character of what is there. And of course, this is residential development that's being added. So I thanks for that, Robin.
Well, the 62 unit building, it strikes me as it's going to be multi-story, I assume.
Yes.
Well, interested to see what's being proposed there. I'll take that up with Robert, perhaps. Well, whom I know many years.
Yeah. Good. Okay. Anything else? Then we have a motion and a second. Dan, would you please call the roll?
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Maley.
Aye. Again, as we've been saying, our 4 town board committees have not been meeting during the pandemic, but each of our committee chairs have been staying engaged with matters that are relevant to their committees. So we'll again have chair reports, starting with you, Robin, for the Community Services Committee.
Thank you, Bill. As you mentioned, the Community Services Committee has not met, but I do have some updates from our department leads. From our Recreation Department, summer camp started on Monday, July 6th, to much fanfare, and it is thus far going very well. Our staff reports that it's good to have the campers back and the camp staff back in the building. And as far as our recreation programs are concerned outside of camp, virtual and online programs continue to be added to Rec One, which is our online registration portal, and they have been very well received by the community. There are programs available for all members of your family, so we do encourage you to check out the offerings to beat the cabin fever that I'm sure we're all experiencing at this point. We will be moving toward returning to limited in-person classes and programming as this summer proceeds, while also following all required guidance given by the state health departments and federal CDC guidelines. So we encourage you to keep a lookout for our important registration and program updates to our website and Facebook page. You can stay up to date with our recreation announcement on our website, www.townofbrighton.org/rec, or on our Facebook page, www.facebook.com/Brighton Recreation. Our Brighton Farmers Market remains open with new COVID-19 procedures, and that is on Sundays from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Brighton High School parking lot. Pre-order is still encouraged but not required. And if you'd like more information on what is going on with our farmers market, please check out their website at www.brightonfarmersmarket.org. An update to our Parks Department, our athletic fields reopened on July 6th for the approved low to moderate risk sports identified in the New York State reopening guidelines. We have had a few groups open up various athletic camps this week. All groups have been required to provide a COVID-19 safety plan and follow the New York State guidelines for their individual sport. Basketball courts remain closed and will continue to be evaluated as basketball is designated one of those high-risk activities. We are reopening rental lodges and pavilions on July 13th. We'll be taking new reservations by appointment or by phone. There are many new policies put in place for COVID-19 and observance of social distancing protocols. Most importantly, building occupancy has been cut in half, and we will be monitoring building occupancy for violations. Playgrounds were reopened on Friday, June 12th. Parking restrictions that were put in place at Corbett's Glen have been lifted on the north end of the park only. Parks will continue to implement new cleaning and disinfecting protocols for facilities, maintenance areas, and vehicles. We'll also continue to work with limited staff in the Parks Department, but focus those maintenance efforts on the busiest sections of the town's parks. So we will ask for your forbearance. An update to our census. It's 74%. Brighton's census response rate is closing in on, but alas, still trailing that of our neighboring towns of Penfield, which is at 77%, Parrington, which is at 78.5%, and Pittsburgh at 81.5%. Again, census workers will be working in accordance with reopening protocols throughout the summer to try to reach those who have not yet completed their census forms. So we want to emphasize that an accurate count is critical to ensuring that we're properly funded for our emergency responders, infrastructure, after-school programs, senior programs, and so much more. And at the end of the day, once again, it's about money, power, and data. So make sure Brighton gets its fair share by responding to the hashtag 2020 census. You can respond to the census online at 2020census.gov. And thank you for participating. And Bill already gave our CCA update, responsive bid documents for our community choice aggregation for the 4 participating municipalities of Monroe Community Power with responsive documents are due by tomorrow, July 9th. The next regularly scheduled meeting of the Community Services Committee is on Wednesday, July 15th at 9:30 a.m. traditionally, but we will not as yet be meeting in person. We want to thank you for your continued patience and observance of COVID-19 safety protocols, and please stay safe, everyone.
Thanks, Robin. I just want to add one more farmers market related thing. And again, it's a COVID policy change. We are asking people, we all love dogs, but we are asking people to please leave your dogs at home at this point during the COVID outbreak. People sometimes ask why. We do all love our dogs, and dogs wind up being a congregating factor. So our goal, the focus of the market is on food. We want people to have access to the food in a safe way, but a number of the things that over the years, have made the market so special, or music, for example. But it also brings people together in close proximity. So do dogs and other pets. So we are asking, please, leave your dog home when you come to the market. Thanks for that update, Robin. Now we have Finance and Administrative Services. Jason.
Yes, Bill, the Finance and Administrative Services Committee has not met. However, we did receive an action items list from Finance Director Paula Parker last week with supporting correspondence and documents regarding the items that appear on tonight's agenda. And we did have the opportunity to ask questions of department heads and staff if we wished. Our next meeting, which would have been on July 15th, is canceled due to COVID-19. And we'll see what August has to bring. Thanks.
Thank you, Jason. Public safety, Christine?
The theme continues. Public safety has not met since the last town board meeting. It would have been meeting next week, Tuesday, the 14th, but we will not due to the restrictions on in-person public meetings. However, I do want to continue on the COVID-19 theme and remind community members that anyone in New York State who needs a COVID-19 test can now get that test. Information about testing sites and other details on the county's direction and support for COVID-19 can be found at www.monroecounty.gov/health-covid-19. It's not the most beautiful website, but it is replete with information on testing and safety for all. Assuming everyone in the county gets tested and everyone is doing well and our numbers come down, the Public Safety Committee will meet in August on Tuesday, August 11th at 8 a.m. in Town Hall. Between now and then, if there are any matters of public safety that the community would like brought to our attention, please don't hesitate to contact me or any other member of the committee. The contact information is at townofbrighton.org/public safety committee. So hopefully we'll be seeing one another in August.
Thanks, Christine. And that's a great reminder that, and really why all of the chairs are making their reports, because even though the committees themselves are not meeting, we do want to take advantage of your input to bring your issues and concerns through those committee chairs to the full town board. So thank you for that. And last but certainly not least, Public Works, Chris Warner.
Bill, the Public Works board has not met, or committee has not met in person. Commissioner Guyan has provided me a summary, however, and we've been in contact, but Barton and Low Judice will begin the evaluation of the underground storage sumps next week over at the Operations Center, checking there for leaks and such. Construction on the farmers market will begin next week, and the BLM construction crews the interior construction next week. The town will be installing the sanitary sewer and water service to the project, and this work has not been scheduled as yet. We have accepted proposals for the library roof design, and a recommendation will be presented at the next planning board meeting. The highway department has completed paving of Norman Road and will begin milling Chelmsford Road next week, and weather permitting, we will be paving the week of July 27th. And I'll be over there on the new smooth surface with my rollerblades. The sewer department is proceeding with its relining program, which has always been a cost savings and has been rehabilitating our sewers at a low cost. The planning department has successfully held remote meetings for the planning board, the zoning board, historic preservation board, the architectural review board, the conservation committee, and the sustainability oversight committee. The planning and engineering departments have really done a great job preparing and hosting these meetings. The next meeting of the Public Works Committee would be August 4 if we were to hold it in person. I'm not overly optimistic, but perhaps we will hold that in person on the 4th at 9:00 a.m. As my colleagues have said, if there are any issues relating to Public Works, please contact me or any other member of the town board or the Public Works Department at the town.
Thanks, Chris. Moving on to new business. Jason, reading and approval of claims.
Yes, Bill, earlier today, I reviewed claims totaling $750.04. Notable claims include 28 election inspectors who worked on primary day on June 23rd, a long day from 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. under challenging circumstances this year. They were, in aggregate, they were paid $6,859. And we'd like to thank them for doing that work. Also to Beam Mac Sales and Service in the amount of $246,233.91 for payment for a 2020 six-wheel dump / snowplow truck, which was in the 2019 CIP. Also to the Depository Trust Company in the amount of $94,025, of which $85,000 was principal, for payment for bonds issued in July of 2019 for the Highland Crossing Trail, for 2019 highway dump trucks, and for repaving Havens Road. Also to Linstar Incorporated, the amount of $12,942.48 for final payment for the access control entry system in the police department. Also to Suit Coat Corporation, the amount of $24,220.95, which is for payment for micro paving services for Meridian Center. And finally, to Villager Construction Incorporated, the amount of $118,346, which was payment for services for the replacement of storm sewers on Ambassador Drive. The claims all appear to be in order, and I move that they be approved.
Second, Robin.
Thank you, both of you. Any discussion? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DeBonzio.
Aye.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Supervisor Mailey.
Aye. This is an exciting one. Christine, as Chair of Public Safety, I'll give this one to you.
My pleasure. Thank you. The next matter seeks to approve the provisional appointment of Lieutenant Jose de Carvalho as police captain effective July 18th, 2020, subject to a 26-week probationary period from the date of his permanent appointment as captain. I move that we adopt the resolution before us.
Second.
Thanks, Christine. Chief, do you want to say a few words about Jose?
Yes, indeed. It's my pleasure to recommend him for appointment to the position of captain. As you know, since I've been promoted, we've only had one captain fulfilling two roles. Jose was promoted a few months back to the position of lieutenant. He's been progressing very well in his training as lieutenant. And I think one of the most important things that I can do as chief of police is set the department up for future success and to look for those leadership traits that I believe are going to serve the town of Brighton well into the future. As you can see by the letter, Jose's a 16-year veteran here at the Brighton Police Department. He has prior law enforcement experience as well. He has a 2-year degree. He's been an integral part of our training unit, probably for the last 13 or 14 years. Firearms trainer, field training officer. So he's an all-around. His all-around approach to training has benefited this department. And again, I think it's it's unfortunate we can't do this in person. Hopefully we'll be able to have a time where we can celebrate his promotion in person. I would like to do that. I'm very, very, very proud to recommend him.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Then Dan, if you would call the roll on the promotion of Jose Caraballo to the role of police captain.
Councilmember DeFazio.
Aye.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Wiltz.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Supervisor Mailey.
Aye. 2 thumbs up. Thank you. Jason.
Yes, the next matter seeks to approve a budget transfer in the amount of $1,750 from the Assessor's Office Travel Expense Account and Assessor's Office Other Contract Services Account to the Assessor's Office Computer Equipment Account for the purchase of a laptop computer. I move that we adopt the resolution as prepared by the attorney to the town.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on this? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DeFazio.
Aye.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Wiltz.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Supervisor Mailey.
Aye. Robin, if you do the next one.
Certainly. The next matter seeks to authorize the supervisor to execute an agreement with the Monroe County Water Authority for combination water service to provide fire protection at the Winter Farmers Market and approve a budget transfer of $6,250.65 from the Consolidated Water District Maintenance Supplies account to the Consolidated Water District Site Development account for installation of combination water service. I move that we adopt the resolution as prepared by the attorney to the town.
Second. Christine.
Mike touched on this briefly, but this is part of the work that is going to be done very, very shortly on the second phase of the Farmers Market construction project in Buckland Park. And I don't know, Mike, if you want to add anything more?
Pretty straightforward. We have to tie into one of the water authority's larger water mains, the 16-inch water main. The fee covers the tap, and the water authority will actually install that for us, and that's part of the fee.
Thank you. Good. Then we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DeFazio.
Aye.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Wiltz.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Supervisor Mailey.
Aye. Jason.
Yes, the next matter seeks to approve standard workday reporting for elected and appointed officials. I move we adopt the resolution as prepared by the attorney to the town.
Second, Robin.
This is reporting that is required by the state of New York for elected officials. It can be done, it has to be done when there's a newly elected official It can be good for as long as 8 years under certain circumstances, but it can also be updated as as an elected official determines is appropriate. So there are a couple of us, myself included, who are required to report this year. So that's what we're taking action on, and the reporting relates to the retirement system. So we have that motion and second. Discussion?
Supervisor, if I could just make
Absolutely.
a comment. It's not a resolution that I prepared. Actually, it's a
Correct.
form resolution, standard form provided by the New York State retirement system.
Thank you. That's right. Okay, we've got the motion and the second. Further comments? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DeFazio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wiltz,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Mailey.
Aye. Chris? You're muted, Chris. Chris, yeah.
I knew it. I knew there was something I missed. The next item is to set the public hearing for the proposed creation of the Penn Arrow Road Refuse District. I move that we adopt the resolution before us.
Second, Christine.
Discussion? We have the petitions, and the public hearing will be held on, got it here, August 12th. I knew it was the first meeting in August. Right now, we don't know for certain whether that public hearing will be held on a video conference format, because in addition to the governor's executive order relating to town board meetings, there is also a separate executive order relating to public hearings, both of which have been extended this week through early August. My guess, my expectation is they will again be continued when we get to August, and that we will hold this public hearing on the 12th again by remote Zoom video conference as part of that town board meeting. Further discussion at all? Then if not, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DeFazio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Mailey.
Aye, and I'll just note again, although we have refuse districts over most really of the town's residential neighborhoods, there are still some areas that don't have them and aren't taking advantage of, one, the savings that you can get by doing your refuse through a refuse district, two, reducing the amount of truck traffic on your streets because only one refuse hauler will be going down your street, only having your toters and other recycling out on the street one night a week, because you don't have to worry about this one does pick up Tuesday and that one Wednesday and the other one Monday. It's one night for everybody. And finally, frankly, having the town available if there are service issues to intervene on your behalf. So for all of those reasons, refuse districts, they're not just a great way to save money, they're really a great way to do trash pickup here in the town of Brighton. Kudos on the anticipated approval next month of the Penn Arrow district. And anybody else that really wants to learn more, come on in, and the Public Works Department can give you the whole story. That's the end of our new business. Matters of the supervisor. I just want to talk just real briefly about the 4th of July. Of course, we weren't able to do our normal festivities this year. But we were able to bring the Sky Coasters into people's homes this year. Of course, the Sky Coasters have been a Brighton tradition on the 4th of July. The Monroe County Supervisors Association decided that having the Sky Coasters play would be a great way to, you know, liven up the spirits on the 4th of July. We were able to work with Penfield and Irondequoit's video staff, and they do a great job. It was recorded down at the Water Street Music Hall and broadcast at 6 p.m. on the 4th of July, not only on cable access channels, but also on WXXI, one of their digital channels. So I hope everybody got to see it. It was a great show. And thank you, Jerry Boone, everybody in the Sky Coasters. Thank you, Penfield, Irondequoit, and the Supervisors Association. And especially thanks to WXXI for making it a part of their 4th of July programming. That's all I've got. Matters of the attorney to the town.
No, I don't have anything this evening. Thank you.
Matters of the town clerk.
Nothing this evening.
Matters of the town board. Okay, then can I have a motion to go into executive session to discuss the employment of a particular person as well as collective bargaining?
So moved.
Second.
Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DeFazio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy.
Aye. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, especially to our interpreters tonight. And we will see you all back again in 2 weeks here on whichever remote way you're watching us, on our live stream YouTube or on cable channel 1303 at 7 p.m. on July 22nd. Stay safe. Have a wonderful night. And I'm going to ask the town board, the town attorney, the town clerk, and the chief of police to stay with us. Everybody else have a great evening. Thank you.